In the heart of Central Africa, a nation is on edge. The Strait of Yaoundé and Douala echo with pain, anger, and confusion. What began as celebration for some has turned into mourning for others. Cameroon has once again found itself at a crossroads following the declaration that President Paul Biya, now 91 years old, has secured 8th term in office. But this time, something feels different. The people are speaking louder. The world is watching closer, and now, even the United Nations has stepped in. In today's video, we uncover what triggered this latest wave of unrest in Cameroon, why the UN is calling for agent investigations, and what this means for the future of one of Africa's most politically tense nations. This is the story of Cameroon election crisis and the global call for justice and accountability. Stay with me because what you're about to hear will shock you to the marrow and leave you thinking in circles. Coming up is something the mainstream media will never tell you. You are watching First Africa Voice, where we tell Africa stories raw, real, and without filters. If you want the real stories that shape Africa, the ones mainstream media won't tell you, hit that subscribe button now. Join First Africa Voice and be the first to know, the first to understand, and the first to see the Africa others don't show you. Don't just watch, be part of First Africa Voice. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the channel. My name is Paul Biya. Now, let's delve into the story together. On October 12th, millions of Cameroonians went to the polls, but even before the ballots were counted, tension was already in the air. For over 4 decades, President Paul Biya has ruled Cameroon with an iron grip, and this year's election was seen by many as a turning point, a chance for change, or the confirmation of a political dynasty. When the results were finally announced, Paul Biya had won again, but the reaction across the country was far from celebration. Protests erupted almost immediately, particularly in the northwest and southwest regions, where long-standing grievances over governance, marginalization, and human rights abuses have never been fully addressed. Witnesses describe security forces firing tear gas, rubber bullets, and in some areas, live ammunition to disperse protesters. Videos flooded social media showing young men beaten, women dragged, and streets littered with debris and fear. Then, the United Nations Human Rights Office broke silence. In a statement, the UN said it had received shocking reports of people killed, injured, or arrested in protests linked to the announcement of the presidential result. They didn't stop there. The UN called for restraint investigations and an end to the violence. And later that day, the UN Secretary General himself released a powerful message. He deplores the loss of life and injuries among both protesters and security forces. He calls for a thorough and impartial investigation into these incidents. The Secretary General went further, urging all political stakeholders and their supporters to reject violence, inflammatory rhetoric, and hate speech. He emphasized one thing above all else: the protection of human rights and fundamental freedoms. It was uncommon and serious warning, signaling that the crisis in Cameroon is no longer just a domestic affair, but there's a global concern. Cameroon is no stranger to political unrest. Since the 2018 election, the country has faced mounting criticism over its handling of dissent, especially in the Anglophone regions, where a violent separatist conflict has raged for years. The post-election protests now risk reigniting old wounds. Opposition supporters accuse the government of electoral fraud and brutal crackdowns, while officials claim they were maintaining order and national unity. But the UN's latest statement changes the game. Their call for independent and thorough investigations into the violence put international pressure on Cameroon like never before. The Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights also issued a direct warning to Cameroon security forces: refrain from using lethal force to quell protests. They demanded accountability for all those found responsible for human rights violation during these demonstrations. For many Cameroonians, this is the moment they have been waiting for, a sign that their voices are finally being heard beyond their borders. What happened next? The United Nations is now calling for inclusive dialogue, a national conversation to address grievances, preserve unity, and resolve disputes through peaceful and legal means. But will the Paul Biya government listen? Will opposition groups seize this moment to demand reform rather than revenge? Or will Cameroon continue down the path of violence, silence, and fear? For over 40 years, one man has defined Cameroon's politics, but now the pressure is coming from within and from the world beyond. The UN's intervention could be the first step toward truth, or just another statement lost in history. Only time will tell. Africa deserves better, and stories like this must be told. If you believe justice and accountability matter, if you believe the voices of ordinary Africans must be heard, don't just watch, take action. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join our mission here on First Africa Voice. As we continue to uncover the truth behind Africa's most important stories the world needs to hear. Cameroon stands at a historic moment. The UN's call for investigation is not just about what happened during the election. It is about what kind of nation Cameroon wants to become. Will it choose transparency, justice, and dialogue, or will it continue in a cycle of silence and fear? The world is watching, and so we are. This is First Africa Voice, telling Africa's story with power. See you in the next video. Until next time, think for Africa, stand for Africa, and keep your voice loud. Well, the dew of the day has crept upon our thoughts, and nature must obey its necessity. Here is where we bring down the curtains. Until we meet again, my name is Paul Lingua, the Africa Orator.